Replacement plus a control group plus golden finger plus a premium face punching. What should I do if I suddenly realize that I have become a villain with dual identities of an evil mother.In.Law and an evil foster mother? Bai Peipei is also a bit panicked. She never did anything bad in her previous life. How did she become the ultimate villainous mother.In.Law in the novel? In order to ensure the happiness of his son, he changed the daughter of a wealthy family and even abused her. He wanted to marry his daughter to a fool and exchange the dowry for his son. As a result, their parents came to their doorstep, and upon discovering this situation, they immediately avenged them. When reading the article, Bai Peipei felt extremely satisfied. She deserved it so well, but when she became the villain among them, Bai Peipei was stunned. It's done. She's going to GG now. Must read work. Wearing the evil granny of the farmer's gate, guaranteed quality. Welcome to join. Chapter 1. Did I travel through time? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mom, please help my sister. I beg you, mother, I kowtow to you. Woo woo. I beg you. In the mist, Bai Peipei heard a burst of sobbing and felt a slight pain in her head. Who is so careless in the middle of the night? She wants to scold him to death. Wait, why is this feeling a bit wrong? Bai Peipei suddenly opened her eyes and found herself lying in a dilapidated room, with a yellow mud wall, an old double-sided cabinet with paint peeling off, and a large table with a missing leg that was patched up with other wood. On top of it was a rough large kettle, and the large porcelain bowl next to it was missing a hole. The key point is that there is a half-sized little girl kowtowing on the ground, and her green linen has turned white from washing, dirty, and there are several patches on her body. I don't know what material to use to tie my hair into a pair of buns, but I don't know if it's not very skilled or if it's messed up by someone, making it look a bit messy. His palm-sized face was extremely thin, making his teary eyes appear somewhat frightening with black edges. She saw Bai Peipei sit up and thought her crying was useful. She knocked her head even harder, and there were blood stains on her forehead. The head was knocked into that shape, and Bai Peipei looked at it with pain. Unexpectedly, the little girl not only didn't feel the pain, but also hugged Bai Peipei's thigh. Woo woo. Mom, I beg you to save my sister. My sister is about to be beaten to death by her husband's family and has shed a lot of blood. I won't be happy anymore. As long as you save my sister, you can do whatever you want me to do, even if you marry me to the old cripple in the village to exchange money. Xia Miao Miao knew that second aunt was unwilling to adopt them, and thought that their sisters were freeloaders, but they had no parents, so who would they follow if they didn't follow second uncle and second aunt? They have been shouting "Nyang" for so many years. Their sisters do all the dirty work at home. They can do whatever they want. They just hope that the second aunt can save her sister's life in this way. Bai Peipei was startled. What, call me my mother? I haven't even gotten married yet. Walking on the street and being called little sister by someone, how could someone call me mom? This generation is rising too fast, it's a bit scary. But the little girl in front of her was too pitiful. Bai Peipei's heart softened and she let out a cold snort of revenge, pulling the little girl up. Don't worry, speak slowly. At the same time, Bai Peipei took the large porcelain bowl from the table, poured some water out, and wiped the little girl's forehead with a clean handkerchief to examine the wound. It's okay, it's just a few small incisions, not particularly serious. I'll go to the mountains and collect some herbs to apply. It was also at this time that Bai Peipei noticed that there was something wrong with his hand checking the little girl's forehead. It was covered in a lot of cracks, indicating that it was the hands of the hard-working masses. Where is this her hand? She is a doctor from a traditional Chinese medicine hospital, unable to withstand the wind or sun, and where did she get any cracks on her hands? Looking up with this hand, Bai Peipei noticed that she was dressed similarly to the little girl, except that she was cleaner. Bai Peipei pinched herself and indeed felt pain. So, is she wearing it instead of dreaming? Vague, dazed. I could vaguely hear the little girl sobbing and saying, "They said my sister was aborted by her brother.In.Law and she hasn't received a doctor yet. She's lying in bed now and she's probably going to die." What, so serious? The original owner was not human. Even the eldest daughter had an accident and didn't even know how to save her. She even asked the youngest daughter to succeed like this. Is this something that humans can do? Can't she be a stepmother? Daringly cursing that the original owner was not something, Bai Peipei immediately stood up. Xia Miao Miao was startled and didn't know what Bai Peipei was going to do, so she quickly followed behind. Then she saw Bai Peipei walk straight into the kitchen, grab a big kitchen knife, and weigh it. Isn't it true that Aunt Air is going to take care of her? Xia Miao Miao's face was afraid and she shrank her neck. Bai Peipei, holding a kitchen knife, didn't pay attention and only felt that something was missing. When she saw a pole next to her, she picked it up with one hand holding the kitchen knife and the other carrying the pole. That's right. Bai Peipei was full of confidence and said, "All right, let's go." Go. Where? Xia Miao Miao timidly asked. Save your sister. Aunt Air agreed. Xia Miao Miao burst into tears of joy, wiped away a tear from the corner of her eye, pulled a stick from the corner of the wall, and walked ahead. Great. Aunt Air agreed. She swore in her heart that once Aunt Air rescued her sister, she would never hate Aunt Air again. Aunt Air would do whatever she asked her to do and sell her. Just as I walked out of the courtyard, I met someone. "Xia Laoers, what are you doing here?" Aunt Lu across from her was a bit confused when she saw Bai Peipei holding a kitchen knife and a pole, looking like she was trying to settle accounts with someone. How do you feel like you're going to trouble someone with such a fierce aura? Isn't that right? This old lady is the top bully in the village. Who is so successful and dares to provoke this evil old lady? Is the original husband's surname Qiao? Line 2. Or is it called second brother? Bai Peipei muttered in her heart, filled with righteous indignation, what else can we do? Of course, we should go find someone surnamed Qiao to settle the accounts. Xia Miao Miao added in a timely manner, my sister is a pregnant woman who was beaten by her brother.In.Law and was bleeding profusely. I heard that people are almost dead, and there is no one to help hire a doctor over there. So I asked my sister to wait for her death there. Why? Why is that all? Wasn't it okay before? Aunt Lu took a breath of air, and when she said, before, it's not clear how long ago it was. After all, not everyone welcomes married girls back to their mother's house. As soon as Aunt Lu thought about how Xia Daya had been living a different life since marrying into the Qiao family, and how someone else had assisted Zhou in his tyranny, she became angry and directly blamed her. Who caused this? It wasn't someone who caused it. If it weren't for someone relying on this marriage, it was your biological father who arranged it for your sister. The Qiao family wouldn't be able to withdraw the marriage, so they insisted on receiving a high dowry to marry your sister and even withholding her dowry. They would vent their anger on your sister. Now, Xia Daya has had an accident, right? I see how someone can explain to your deceased father in the future. How did I know something was going to happen? Bai Peipei couldn't refute the blame. However, did the original man die? This is good news. Are you going alone? Where's Xia Laoer from your house? Obviously, Aunt Lu didn't trust Bai Peipei to go alone. Are you joking? When Xia Daya was beaten by her husband's family and ran back for help, Bai Peipei not only didn't make a decision for her, but also used it as a blackmail to ask the Qiao family for money, and then sent Xia Daya back. Poor Xia Daya, on the day she was sent back, she was locked up in the firewood shed and reportedly beaten up. This time I went to the Qiao family, it's uncertain that Bai Peipei was going for compensation. Ah! Isn't the original owner's man dead? Why did another one emerge? Bai Peipei is a bit confused. So, the one who died was Xia Daya's biological father, and the original owner married Xiao Lauer instead. Aunt Lu felt like she had guessed right when she saw Bai Peipei's expression. If you don't inform Xiao Lauer about such a big matter, it's clear that there is a ghost. I don't know what Xiao Lauer did, and I don't know where to find someone for the notification now. No, she absolutely can't let Bai Peipei go alone. Aunt Lu became more and more uneasy as she thought about it and said, "Is your man out? He can't find anyone. Old Qiao's family is unreasonable, so you can't go alone. Wait, I'll call my man to go, and he's inside. Turn around and enter the room," calling out to her man Lu Zhensheng. Chapter 2. Release that girl. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Along the way, Bai Peipei kept talking and roughly understood some of the situation. The one she was following now, and the one she was going to save later, were both the adopted daughters of the original owner, more accurately, the children of Xiao Lauer's brother's family. Because there was no one left in the main room, they were placed in foster care in the second room, which led to the kneeling incident of Xiao Miao Miao when Bai Peipei walked over at the beginning. In addition, it seems that the original owner also had a few biological ones, specifically a few, so Bai Peipei didn't dare to ask in detail for fear of revealing his true identity. Along the way, Aunt Lu saw one person pulling another, so she insisted on pulling a team for Bai Peipei. Watching so many people follow her to the Qiao family, Bai Peipei's heart suddenly surged with courage. She sincerely thanks Aunt Lu. If it weren't for Aunt Lu's presence, she might not have been able to attract so many people. She feels more confident, and when this happens, she must give thanks to Aunt Lu and the enthusiastic villagers in the future. Actually, Bai Peipei didn't know that Aunt Lu would pull so many people purely to supervise her. The original owner has a notorious reputation, and Aunt Lu is also afraid that she won't be able to win the Bai Peipei alone. With more people, there is more power, so she has more confidence in persuading others. Fortunately, Bai Peipei didn't know, but if she knew in no time, we arrived at Shanao village, next door to Ningxian village. When they arrived at the Qiao family, most of the men were not there, only Mrs. Qiao and her eldest daughter.In.Law Zeng Cuizue were present. Zeng Cuizue was sweeping the floor while cursing Xia Daya for being lazy in bed. The Qiao family had been unlucky to marry her for 8 lifetimes. "Who are you cursing?" With a questioning sound, Bai Peipei swung the pole with a thud and headed straight towards Zeng Cuizue. Suddenly, a shoulder pole came towards her, and Zeng Cuizue was frightened to the point of splitting her liver and gallbladder. "Help! I killed someone. I even threw away the broom, no more." Bai Peipei didn't hit anyone, nor did she chase after them. She turned to Xia Miao Miao and said, "Miao Miao, do you know which room your sister is in?" "I know." Xia Miao Miao pointed to the wooden house in the farthest corner of Qiao's yard and said, "That's the most dilapidated house." Looking next to them, there were 4 large rooms in a row, all of which were made of clay sculptures. The one Xia Miao Miao pointed to was the most dilapidated, with a whole wall covered in grass rows. Bai Peipei was furious when she saw it. How could anyone who is pregnant or seriously ill sleep in such a room? Isn't it clear that this is bullying people? Suppressing his anger, he pushed open the door. Saying it's a door, it's actually just a straw row, without even a door bolt, it just opens. I saw all the hay exposed on the bed, blood seeping through the bedding, half covering a bruised upper body. The small face, the size of a palm, was devoid of blood, with both eyes tightly closed, and one couldn't wake up. Bai Peipei almost thought that the person was gone, so he quickly rushed forward for emergency treatment. He pinched the person and felt his pulse, making a lot of trouble before waking them up. "Mom, why are you here?" Xia Daya opened her eyes and saw the person coming clearly, with a hint of fear on her face. It's not like seeing relatives, but rather like seeing something terrifying. Recalling the stepmother character of the original protagonist, Bai Peipei realized that her character may be even worse than she had imagined. "Don't be afraid, Mom is here, Mom will protect you." Ignoring Xia Daya's subconscious refusal, Bai Peipei clenched her wrist with a caring expression. No matter who the original owner used to be, from now on, she has accepted it. And she will seize this opportunity and change her face. In this way, she will be different from the original owner in the future, and it can be inferred that she was stimulated by Xia Daya's incident and suddenly repented. People, with a stimulus source, it's normal for some changes to occur. Aunt Lu followed in and saw Xia Daya with a blue nose, swollen face, and injured body. She took a deep breath of cold air with everyone. I only heard that the second son of the Qiao family hit his wife, but I didn't expect it to be so severe. My goodness. This child couldn't have been beaten up, could he? For a while, many people cursed the second son of the Qiao family, Qiao Lesheng, for not being the same thing. Aunt Lu also said to Bai Peipei, "Did you see that? This is what you did. If you hadn't gone too far in the beginning, the Qiao family would have vented their anger on Dia. Look at how miserable Dia is. Although she didn't come out of your belly, she was also raised by you alone. You don't know how heartbroken she is." I feel heartbroken. Why don't I feel heartbroken? My heartbroken heart is almost killing me. I wish I could have chopped off Joe's mistress. My own daughter.In.Law was still beating so hard. Was this something someone did? No way. This matter cannot be settled like this. If she doesn't help Xia Daya find this place, she won't be Bai Peipei. It's okay for Bai Peipei not to say that. The more she said it, the more Aunt Lu didn't believe it and felt that Bai Peipei was planning something and preparing to do something. She felt that she needed to keep a close eye on her and not let Bai Peipei take advantage of the situation. Bai Peipei doesn't know these things, she's all focused on saving people now. Xia Daya woke up, but her blood was still flowing. She came out urgently and didn't bring any needles. Among these people, only Aunt Lu was the most familiar. She said to Aunt Lu, "Sister-in-law, can you help me find a few needles? Daya is bleeding a lot and needs to stop the bleeding immediately." Is it really bleeding? This. What a sin. I thought Xia Miao Miao's words about bleeding were exaggerated. They came and could still save Xia Daya's life, but the result Aunt Lu felt sad in her heart. This good girl, who has only been married for a few years, will take her life. Isn't it just about high-priced dowries? The old Qiao family is really going too far. Sister-in-law, it's probably up to you to save Dia, Bai Peipei pleaded. I don't know if sister-in-law can help me find a few needles to sew clothes. With the needles, maybe I can save Dia's life. How else can you save the bleeding? I'm not sure. I learned acupuncture and Moxibustion from Ru Fonglang before. It is said that it can stop the bleeding of puerpera. Really, you wait, I'll find a needle for you. Although Aunt Lu was puzzled about how Bai Peipei could have such a skill, she had never heard of it before. But there was no other good way now. She felt sorry for herself as she watched Xia Daya grow up, so she could only be a lifeless doctor and quickly turned around to borrow a needle from someone. For a moment, Aunt Lu forgot to keep an eye on Bai Peipei and not let her play tricks. At the same time, Bai Peipei asked Xia Miao Miao to come and hold Xia Daya's hand, help her soothe Xia Daya together, and ask Xia Daya not to give up. Daya, did you hear that? Although you are bleeding heavily, there is still hope. When Aunt Lu borrows the needle, your mother can save you. You must persist. Sister, I can't bear to part with you. Please, don't leave me alone. Xia Miao Miao heard this and was very afraid that Xia Daya would really close her eyes and speak while shedding tears. Xia Daya was also shedding tears. She wanted to speak, but she was exhausted and could only silently look at her aunt and sister, feeling extremely uncomfortable. She thought that Aunt Air didn't like herself and her sister, but she didn't expect that something had really happened to her. The person who came to save her was Aunt Air. For a moment, my mood was complex. Chapter 3. Acupuncture and Moxibustion for Hemostasis. You are listening at novel full.audio. This room is small, and no men from Lingshan village have come in. They are guarding in the yard, except for women who gather at the entrance of the firewood house one by one. They looked at Xia Dai's pitiful appearance and sighed one by one, cursing that the Qiao family was not a good thing, and that a water and spiritual flower had been stirred up by the Qiao family in this way. At the same time, they cursed Bai Peipei for his wrongdoing in their hearts, and their good niece was willing to give it to others for waste. You should know that when she was in the village, Xia Dai was known for being diligent and skilled in work. Many people in the village were eager to marry her and go home. But what did Bai Peipei say? What about Xia Dai's engagement with her biological father? She cannot regret her marriage. If she regrets it, she will not be able to explain it to her biological father underground. Tell me what the hell. When she received the dowry from someone else, she was not soft-hearted. After receiving the dowry, she didn't give the dowry yet, so she let Xia Dai bring 2 clothes and go out, losing face. Now it's okay, Xia Dai really wants to go underground and report to her father. Although it's the neighboring village, which one doesn't have a sewing machine or anything like that. Aunt Lu also knows people here, and it wasn't long before she borrowed it. Dia, don't be afraid, I'll just give you a needle. Bai Peipei took Xia Daya's hand from Xia Miao Miao and said, believe in Mom, Mom will definitely save you. At this moment, Xia Dai became even weaker. I don't know if Bai Peipei gave Xia Dai confidence, or if Xia Dai didn't want to die herself, and infinite hope came to her heart. Yes, who is willing to die if they can live? Xia Dai let out a soft, opened her mouth, and silently said, I believe. The room is full of women, including Xia Dai and others. Bai Peipei greeted Xia Dai and without any hesitation, stripped off her clothes. This slap made Bai Peipei and everyone present blush, because they really didn't expect that Xia Dai didn't have a good piece on her body. Damn Qiao's second son, Qiao Lesheng. Damn Qiao's family. Bai Peipei's anger burned in her heart, and she suppressed it fiercely. She decided to see someone later and must clean up this domestic violence man well. Fearing that the silver needle might not be clean, Bai Peipei had someone take a stone fire and light a pot of fire. He then roasted the needle on the fire and finally found the blood hole, piercing into Xia Dai's body. While pricking, he was talking to Xia Dai and telling her what acupoint he was pricking and what its purpose was. Even though her movements were gentle, there were so many blue and purple marks on Xia Dai's body that it was inevitable to be touched. Xia Dai felt as if she had lost her pain sensation nerve and didn't say a word of pain. When Bai Peipei saw it, her eyes lit up and she pressed it down again. She spoke softly, diverting Xia Dai's attention. She spoke softly and eloquently, not to mention Xia Dai, but the other people in the room were also attracted and perked up their ears. Aunt Lu was puzzled in her heart. I didn't expect Xia Lao's family to still have this ability. If you had known earlier, there is a person who is usually restless and has a headache, wouldn't it be possible to see her? Xia Miao Miao listened carefully and memorized these acupoints and their effects. Although she didn't know if Aunt Air could really save her sister, she was willing to believe them. Since that's the case, if she had memorized all of this, wouldn't she be able to help in the next situation? It's not that Xia Miao Miao is hoping for her sister to do it again, she's just afraid of the feeling that she can't help anything. Sure enough, after Bai Peipei punctured each needle, Xia Dai's blood finally stopped and no longer leaked. Oh my goodness! Sister, you're so amazing. Aunt Lu couldn't help but speak out and praised her, looking at Bai Peipei as if she was looking at a living bodhisattva. The other 2 aunties are the same. Which family doesn't have a girl? Which girl didn't step into the gates of hell during childbirth? I used to encounter a blood avalanche, and even hiring a doctor was useless. I still had to wait until I died. If you can endure it, you will live, if you cannot endure it, it will be your fate. Now it's okay, they actually discovered a person who can treat blood avalanche. That's right, this person is none other than Bai Peipei, a notorious and domineering woman who is notorious in her daily life. What should we do? I used to complain about other people's bad words behind my back. If I asked for help from others later it was a bit awkward, but I could only awkwardly say good things to Bai Peipei one by one, hoping that one day when I needed it, Bai Peipei could take action. Yeah, big girl, you have this skill. If you had to show it earlier, we would have come to ask for help long ago. Big girl, the light is already on. Don't hide it anymore. Who doesn't have a girl, who doesn't have a baby? If you can save the mother, then you will be a living bodhisattva who saves lives. Big girl, that's how you count. Bai Peipei felt embarrassed to say that she used to be not afraid to take action, but rather because her skills were not up to par and she dared not take action. This time, I was forced to the point where I had no choice but to act in front of a live horse doctor and force myself to take action. Aunt Lu and others think about it too. If Bai Peipei really has this ability, why should she hide it? With Bai Peipei's temperament, I'm afraid the whole world will already know about it. Hidden and pinched, that must be uncertain, afraid to take action, afraid of accidents. If you treat someone else's girl or daughter.In.Law, it's okay to say that they have been saved. If they haven't been saved, there's a possibility of getting themselves involved. But treating Xia Daya with Bai Peipei is different. Xia Daya is already like this, not treating is death. After treatment, there is still a glimmer of hope. Even if she doesn't survive, Xia Daya was raised by Bai Peipei herself and others can't do anything to her. At most, she can say a few bad things behind her back. Bai Peipei checked Xia Daya's pulse and confirmed that the blood had really stopped. She asked the ladies to boil some hot water, clean Xia Daya's body, and change into clean clothes. Poor Xia Daya, after marrying into the Qiao family for 2 years, she didn't even have clothes that fit her body. After flipping through the box, Bai Peipei became angry again and wanted to go and flip through Qiao's wife's room. Mrs. Qiao saw that there were many of them, so she hid for a long time and didn't dare to come out. Seeing that, she quickly came out to stop them and said, "What are you doing? You're crazy, how can you casually rummage through things in someone's house? You're bandits." Bandits. Bai Peipei sneered as she saw her. I've been at the Qiao family for so long, and there hasn't even been a ghost. Why, when I'm going to dig through things, people come out. Mrs. Qiao is a bully who fears the hard. If Bai Peipei comes alone, she won't benefit much, but the problem is that Bai Peipei has brought a group of people and filled their yard. In addition, her daughter.In.Law Zheng Cui's voice frightened her. With the idea that a hero wouldn't suffer losses and wouldn't hit the smiling person, Mrs. Qiao compensated with a smile and said, "Oh, who did I say? It turned out that my in-laws came to my door. It scared me to death. When I saw so many people, I thought it was a bandit coming to my door, so I had to hide. If I had known it was my in-laws, I would have come out long ago. Why did my in-laws come? Come, sit down, and I'll have Cui pour you a bowl of water." As he spoke, he gave his eldest daughter.In.Law Zheng Cui a wink, telling her to be clever and not to cause trouble for her. Bai Peipei really wants to roll her eyes. So abusing her daughter, beating her up like this, and trying to please her. I'm just thinking of farting. Bai Peipei directly refused and questioned, "What's wrong with my daughter? She's doing well, how could she have an abortion?" Chapter 4. Bai Peipei's questioning. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Oh, you're asking the right person. When it comes to this, I'm so angry. Mrs. Qiao patted her thigh. She's been married for so long, and finally got news. I'll provide good food and drink for her, but who knew she was still stubborn, picky, and all sorts of trouble. Now that's good, she accidentally threw the child away. The more she spoke, the angrier she became, as if it really seemed like that. She longed for the second wife to have a child, and every day she confessed to Xia Daya as something, so that son.As could still leave the child behind. She had never seen a girl from a family as capable as son.As. Marrying son.As would bring bad luck to the old Qiao family for 8 lifetimes. Dirty water splashed onto son.As, not afraid of killing her, but afraid of not enough. Bai Peipei was so angry that her teeth itched, wishing she could tear off Mrs. Qiao's face. Fuck your mother. My eldest daughter is covered in wounds all over her body, and not a single piece of skin is good. Is this what you're saying in your mouth? If you want this fortune, I'll beat you up and let you enjoy it immediately. Do you want to give it a try? I'm telling you, Mrs. Qiao, why don't you give me an explanation about this matter? I'm not finished with your Qiao family. Mrs. Qiao refused to admit it. She had to admit it in front of so many people. Isn't this a slap in the face of the old Qiao family? She stood up and argued with Bai Peipei. With this commotion, there was a push and shoving motion, and Bai Peipei was pushed and took a step back. The people around only advised not to take action and did not approach. As soon as Mrs. Qiao saw that there were advantages to take advantage of, she felt excited and wanted to teach Bai Peipei a lesson with force. She reached out and grabbed Bai Peipei's hair, scratching her face. Mrs. Qiao didn't know that Bai Peipei was waiting for her to take action. Before she could scratch her face, Bai Peipei grabbed her arm and pulled Mrs. Qiao, causing her to stumble. So easy. Bai Peipei was secretly startled in her heart, and then pulled Mrs. Qiao back. She picked her up like a chick. Oh, no. Am I so strong? Bai Peipei's pupils instantly dilated, feeling like she had discovered the new world. Mrs. Qiao wanted to fight back, but as she tossed back and forth, she couldn't even stand steady. Her legs and feet softened, and her heart panicked. She then shut her mouth and bit Bai Peipei like a dog. Bai Peipei slapped and slapped old lady Qiao's neck off center. Then he seized the opportunity and caught Mrs. Qiao to the ground. He held down the back of her head with one hand, grabbed her hair, and pressed it directly towards the ground. The movement is so smooth. With just a bump, Mrs. Qiao knocked her forehead to the ground. Ah! Mrs. Qiao screamed in pain. Zheng Cuizui instantly retreated. The people around who wanted to persuade were also startled. On sight, there was a sudden silence. Mrs. Qiao is cursing and killing 1,000 knives. Your ancestor has come out with all kinds of foul language. Curse again. Bai Peipei grabbed the hair behind Mrs. Qiao's head, twisted and pressed it, causing Mrs. Qiao's forehead to bump twice on the ground. The impact made Mrs. Qiao dizzy and her eyes sparkle with gold. Killed. Killed. Zheng Cuizui saw the blood and ran away screaming. When others see this, what's the point? If it causes a loss of life, this matter can still be resolved. Hurry up and stop. A few aunties from Ningxian village made a move, breaking the hands of Bai Peipei and pulling the old lady Qiao. Let go, Xia Lauer's family, let go, we're going to cause trouble. Hurry up and let go, your eldest daughter hasn't died yet. Oh my goodness. Mrs. Qiao, why don't you just say a few words? Are you not going to die? Let's have something to say, have something to say. Aunt Lu is not doing well as a whole. She knows what Bai Peipei is going to do, but she didn't expect Bai Peipei to do this. Aren't you supposed to compensate? Why did you beat the person first when the compensation was not demanded yet? She pulled Bai Peipei apart and tightly grabbed her arm, saying, Xia's family, calm down a bit. Dia is still waiting for you. You can't kill Mrs. Qiao. If you do, you'll have to pay for her imprisonment. What will Dia do if you go to jail? Flip out all the blankets and clothes in Mrs. Qiao's room and take them to Dia's room, Bai Peipei said without hesitation. Okay, flip over, let's flip over. Aunt Lu coaxed in a friendly tone. On the other side, Mrs. Qiao was lifted up by someone, and in this moment, she dared not even lean against Bai Peipei's side. Bai Peipei asked her to flip through everything in her house, and she didn't even dare to fart. The clothes and blankets in Mrs. Qiao's house were flipped out, but Bai Peipei refused to let son.As change them because she thought the quilt was something that Mrs. Qiao had slept on before and was afraid of bacteria. She threw it into the yard and had someone flip through the house of Mrs. Qiao's eldest daughter.In.Law, Zeng. Ah, why did you flip through my house? Zeng saw it and became anxious. My eldest daughter married into your Qiao family, eating the least and doing the most work. There is no credit or hard work, and she can't even earn a few broken blankets from your Qiao family. Bai Peipei refused to admit, she just wanted to retaliate and cause trouble. Zeng shrank her neck in fear. Bai Peipei, however, did not let her go. When she saw the new quilt that others had dug up, she immediately recognized it as a new one made this year. She mocked her and said, "It's really frustrating to compare people to each other. As a daughter.In.Law, you have 2 beds and 3 beds in your house, as well as a new one made this year. My eldest daughter is very good, only 1 bed is broken, not even replaced. I don't know who my eldest daughter has been doing all the work for in the Qiao family these years." The most infuriating thing was that when she arrived at the back, Bai Peipei found that son.As had 3 or 4 sets of clothes for men, and son.As only had 1 set. She almost didn't order all the clothes. But considering that son.As didn't have any clothes to change, I still chose the best set and gave her a change. Is this the second son of the Qiao family? I didn't take it wrong, did I? No, it's a pleasure. Bai Peipei glanced at son.As without correcting her name. Shouted out, "It won't be long after all." What is the name Qiao Lesheng, who has a pleasant-sounding name, but what are the things he does? Such a man doesn't deserve such a good name. I don't know where the men from the Qiao family have been fooling around, but Bai Peipei has already tidied up and they arrived late. Obviously, the men from the Qiao family were not aware of the seriousness of the situation, each with a smell of alcohol on their bodies. When they entered the door and saw so many people in their own family, they even frowned. What do you mean? Tie up my wife and eldest daughter.In.Law and make them look like this. What are you trying to do? Do you want to break off the marriage? Are you okay to ask what's going on? Bai Peipei's chest lit up as soon as she smelled the smell of alcohol. My daughter was beaten all over by your son, and she even gave birth. She is still lying in your bed, living and dying. The men of your Qiao family are so happy that they even went to drink. Why, do you want to celebrate my daughter's early death and early rebirth? Unexpectedly, old Qiao glanced at Bai Peipei and said directly, "Where's your man?" Chapter 5. Killing Qiao Lesheng. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The expression of not wanting to talk to Bai Peipei ignited Bai Peipei's anger as she forcefully suppressed it. She picked up the pole on the ground and looked at the young man next to Mr. Qiao, saying, "Qiao Lesheng, stand up for me. You guys shouldn't take it seriously one by one, right? Okay. Great. My mother wants you to take a good look at what it means to be in pain on yourself." One of the young people who was named was stunned for a moment, not sure if it was due to the effect of alcohol. He slowly stood up and said, "Mom, you called me." Bai Peipei waved the pole and threw it at him. Touch. That moment, it forcefully hit Qiao Lesheng's back, causing him to scream in pain. Ah! Feeling pain, Qiao Lesheng, the second son of the Qiao family, reacted and jumped to the side to hide. "Help! I've killed someone. Dad, help me quickly." Old Qiao was startled and quickly stepped forward to stop someone, saying, "What are you doing? What's going crazy? My daughter is going to be beaten to death by your family. I'm not crazy. I made him hit my daughter. I made him go out and drink. I made him happy and carefree. You crazy person. Your daughter is lying in bed. It's your daughter who's not doing well. She miscarried on her own. Who's to blame? My son didn't mean to. Not intentional. My daughter was beaten so badly that she was covered in wounds and didn't have any good skin. How could she still have the face to say it wasn't intentional? It's not your daughter who was beaten so badly. Alright, I'll teach your son a lesson today and let you experience what it means to hit your son's body, pain in his heart. The shoulder pole in the air was swung out loud, piercing one after another, making the scalp tingle. Qiao Lesheng, the second son of the Qiao family, dared not stand still and ran for his life all over the yard, heading straight towards the crowded area. Those people saw Bai Peipei beating people like he didn't want his life, fearing that he would harm the fish in the pond. They quickly ran away and asked for a way out. I asked you to hit my daughter. I'll let you fight. I'll beat you to death. Not only did the moves hit, but there was also a knock in 10 strokes. Qiao Lesheng, the second son of the Qiao family, was beaten so much that he cried and called out for his mother. Without paying attention, he tripped over something on the ground. What tripped him was nothing else, it was actually the broom that his sister.In.Law, Xing had left behind before. This trip gave me no chance to get up again because Bai Peipei arrived. Bai Peipei stepped on his back and picked up a pole to strike someone. His deadly appearance frightened many people present. Antlu reacted and shouted, urging the people of Ningxian village to quickly pull them away. Are you all dead? Hurry up and pull them away. This is about to kill someone, and none of you can escape. If someone dies, it will be a conflict between the two villages. Will not everyone present be able to escape? It can be noisy, but it must not cause harm to human life. Bai Peipei looked at her aggressive move and even bit her teeth, but she also regained her strength. She wants to teach Qiao Lesheng and his family a lesson, but she's not going to cause trouble. She can't really kill someone, can she? The people in Ningxian village pulled them apart as soon as they pulled, and Qiao Lesheng, the second son of the Qiao family on the ground, was also frightened. One leg was stepped on by Bai Peipei in the wrong position, and his arm was also broken. My arm. My legs. I don't know if it was scared or painful, but Qiao Lesheng, the second son of the Qiao family, even wet his pants. The people in Ningxian village despised him for being dirty and didn't help him, so they let the people in son.As village help him on their own. People from son.As village. Damn it. I don't want to help either. The last one to be pushed out was his brother. Qiao Lesheng, the eldest of the Qiao family. Qiao Lesheng was scared out of his wits, his legs and feet became weak, and several villagers pushed him out smoothly. Qiao Lesheng, the eldest son of the Qiao family, stumbled and almost fell into the urine of Qiao Lesheng, the second son of the Qiao family. Nausea. The overwhelming stimulation almost made Qiao Lesheng vomit. Qiao Lesheng, the second son of the Qiao family, saw him and felt both embarrassed, angry, saying, "Brother." Lesheng. Old Qiao felt heartbroken when he saw his second son's appearance. Previously, he dared not step forward, but now that Bai Peipei has been stopped by the people of Ningxian village, he dare not step forward. Unfortunately, he seems to have overestimated his fatherly love. It's okay to be far away, but getting closer nausea like his unruly eldest son Qiao Lesheng, he almost vomited. This time, old Qiao was unwilling to help and urged his eldest son, Qiao Lesheng, to help others. For this reason, the eldest son Qiao Lesheng almost turned against the old man Qiao and said, "This stinks. If you don't help me, why should I help you?" Old Qiao. Who exactly is lousy? Do you want me to help you even if you don't? The eldest daughter.In.Law of the Qiao family, Xing was so scared that she dared not speak. Only Mrs. Qiao looked at her second son, Qiao Lesheng, and felt genuinely sorry, saying, "My son." Crying loudly. Unfortunately, I dare not fight against Bai Peipei anymore. Her second son Qiao Lesheng is young and strong, and can even be beaten by Bai Peipei to run around in the yard. So miserable, can she beat Bai Peipei? Don't rush up, just a few carrying poles will be gone. Just let it be if someone sees a joke. His second son Qiao Lesheng is still in such a miserable situation. Old Qiao is full of anger, and if it weren't for his concern about the pole in Bai Peipei's hand, he might have come forward to tear him apart. What do you mean? You've beaten my son like this, you're going too far. Old Qiao was angry and vigilant as he stared at Bai Peipei, afraid she might go crazy again. Aunt Lu was also afraid, so she removed the pole from Bai Peipei's hand and asked someone to take it away and hide it. She didn't dare to let go and grabbed Bai Peipei's arm. There's no way, without the shoulder pole, Bai Peipei's strength value will be reduced. She swung a chair, table, or something in one go, and still beat people up. I'm also tired of dogs. I called so many people to look at Bai Peipei, afraid that she might be a mess and not care about son.As life or death. I just wanted the Qiao family to lose money. Now it's okay, Bai Peipei is gu son.As alive and dead, but the person who's going to die has become a member of the Qiao family. How come there isn't a single player in the entire Qiao family who can fight? She fought so hard that she was afraid of being accidentally injured by Bai Peipei, so she was beaten to death with a shoulder pole. Even so, when she arrived, it was Aunt Lu who led the way. At such times, Aunt Lu could only grit her head and say, "Sister, let's talk about something carefully. Take it slow, don't worry. If the Qiao family dares to be unreasonable, we'll all be here. I'm going too far. My well-behaved daughter got married to your family and was beaten by the son of the Qiao family, who is still lying in bed and knows nothing about me. How could you say that I went too far? When he hit my daughter, why didn't he know to hold his hand? Why didn't you know to stop him? If he didn't kill your son and bury my daughter, I was just showing mercy." Bai Peipei ignored Aunt Lu on her face and could only say, "Thank you," in her heart. In order to sing the rest of the play, she had a cold expression and a desperate look to find the Qiao family at any time. Qiao family member. Afraid. No, we need to stand further away. Even the second son of the Qiao family, Qiao Lesheng, who was in pain all over his body, covered his mouth, afraid that the negotiations between Qiao and Bai Peipei would not be successful, and it was him who suffered. Chapter 6. Heavenly Price Compensation. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. You're just crazy. Didn't I already say that? Your daughter's problem can't be blamed on my son. She accidentally fell on her own. Damn it. She looks injured all over. I'm blind, can't I see it? I can't even get off the ground. I'll be late for a while, and there's no one left. You can't blame your son now. Joe, let me tell you, don't think I don't know that my eldest daughter hasn't had a good day since marrying into your Qiao family. It's just that I was worried about this marriage being arranged by her deceased father before, so I closed my eyes. But what I didn't expect is that your Qiao family is not fighting, and you even want to be killed. No, we didn't want to kill anyone. I didn't want to die or have a miscarriage. What's the difference between lying in bed now and dying? I'm willing to go all out now, and I'm not afraid that I won't be able to explain it to her father underground. My mother needs an explanation today. If you don't give me an explanation, no one can think of it today. What exactly do you want? You Qiao family must swear to the heavens that from now on, you will not touch son.As with a finger, otherwise she will lose a hair. My mother will come knocking on your door and kill your Qiao family. It is also your Qiao family's own right. Old Joe is both angry and shy. He swore that it would be the death of his entire family or something. How good of this woman to make him make such an oath. This is like throwing the Qiao family's face on the ground and stepping on it. Bai Peipei's expression was cold. Besides that, I have to take Dia home to take care of her. I don't trust leaving her at your Qiao family. During the Ya's recovery, all kinds of expenses, including lost work expenses, recovery expenses, nutrition expenses, mental damage expenses, etc., will be covered by your Qiao family. The lion pouted directly and cruelly calculated a sum for the Qiao family. Isn't it that if you don't feel pain in yourself, you don't know it hurts? Now it's okay, do you know it hurts? The cost of lost work is due to how many people's work was delayed by Xia Dia, and all of these tasks are converted and paid by the Qiao family. The recuperation expenses refer to the expenses incurred by Xia Dia during her injury, including taking medication and seeing a doctor, all of which are covered by the Qiao family. Not to mention the nutritional expenses, Xia Dia is so seriously injured that she definitely needs to eat something good and take good care of herself. Not too much Bai Peipei, 1 chicken a month, 1 fish a week, and 1 meal of white noodles every day, not to mention that Xia Dia has suffered so much injustice and torment in the Qiao family for so long, and she still needs to take some money to appease her. Counting them one by one, before Mr. Qiao could speak, Mrs. Qiao had already started cursing, "You're a shameless person who kills thousands of dollars. You're taking the life of our family. A girl movie, she can't even protect her own child. Who's to blame? Blame her for not having that fate. You want us to pay, that's great. There's not even a copper coin. She was beaten, and she deserved it. She deserves it, right? She was beaten and couldn't protect the child in her belly, so she deserved it, right?" Bai Peipei heard this and without saying a word, pulled her arm out of Aunt Lu's hand, grabbing the long bench next to her. "I'll show you today. What does it mean to not protect her own child? She deserves it. I want to see how many skills your Qiao family has to protect Xiao Lesheng, this little brat." "Oh no!" Before the long bench could swing down, Mrs. Qiao screamed in fear and shouted, "Killed!" Qiao Lesheng, the second son of the Qiao family who couldn't run away with a broken leg, hugged Mrs. Qiao's thigh and said, "Mom, help! Mom, help!" He didn't speak again. Why is it always him who gets hurt? Wu, the other members of the Qiao family, fought fiercely and shouted loudly, "Stop her! Stop her quickly! Stop her quickly!" Of course, the Qiao family dared not step forward on their own and shouted at others. At first glance, the people in Shanao village dared not step forward. Aunt Lu was brave enough to take the people from Ningxian village to hug the ground, arm each other, and lower the bench, which finally got the things in Bai Peipei's hand off. Aunt Lu was going crazy and said, "Are you guys from the Qiao family having a brain tease? I finally managed to persuade them, can't you just speak up? If you don't want to talk, hit yourself, I don't care. If you kill me, it's up to you. It's none of my business." The Qiao family was so frightened that they were afraid that Aunt Lu would let go and quickly promised not to. One by one, they turned their heads and blamed Mrs. Qiao for getting up. Knowing that Bai Peipei was a madman, they even said stimulating words to her. "Isn't this killing people?" Especially Qiao Lesheng, the second son of the Qiao family, felt like crying. "Mom, I beg you, shut up. Just say a few more words, your son's life is on the brink of death." Turning his head, he begged old Qiao and his elder brother Qiao Lesheng, "Dad and elder brother, I beg you all to help me. I don't want to die. This woman is just a lunatic, don't provoke her. Whatever she says, you should respond. Please, I'll be your ox and horse from now on." It's so easy to say, but when the other party talks about so much money, they ruin the whole family and don't even have that much money. Qiao Lesheng, the eldest brother of the Qiao family, had a toothache and now he really hates this younger brother. "You said you can just beat your wife, why did you lose the child in her belly? Now it's okay, did someone else come knocking on the door?" "I disagree. Brother, I beg you. It's no use begging me. You're not the only one in the Qiao family, why should you compensate all the Qiao family members? If you want to compensate, you'll be the only one." Qiao's eldest brother, Qiao Lesheng, said, "Dad, I don't care. You can compensate your second brother, but you can only compensate him alone. But if you dare to compensate for my share, don't blame me for not being filial to you in the future. I'm the boss, and I used to be the one who cared for you and your mother. The eldest daughter.In.Law of the Qiao family, Xing, also reacted and said, yes, Dad, Mom. In the future, I and Lesheng will provide you with elderly care. If you really want to lose the money, what should we do with our big house? Think about your grandson. Previously, the father and son were drinking together, looking like two good brothers. In the blink of an eye, they were stabbed by their own brother. Qiao Lesheng, the second son of the Qiao family, looked incredulous. Brother, I'm your own brother. As soon as the result was spoken, the head of the Qiao family, Lo Qiaoqing, said directly, you are my own younger brother. I have a bite to eat, and I will definitely not miss you. But if you ask me to compensate the whole family, it will definitely not be possible. You also need to think about my difficulties. I have a son and a daughter, and I also need to care for my parents. It is impossible for me to take care of them all for the sake of one of you. Mr. Qiao looked embarrassed and wanted to discuss with Bai Peipei to see if it could be cheaper. Bai Peipei sneered, it's cheaper. When your son hit my daughter, why didn't he know to persuade, stop, and not let him do it? My eldest daughter has gone through such a disaster, her body has been destroyed, and I don't know if she can still have children. She's been dragged down by your son like this, so why bother asking for more money? I still want to give her money for retirement. Old Qiao said, This is too much. You can't make it through this life like this. You've made things so extreme that my son hates her in the future. How can our Qiao family tolerate her? Chapter 7. Separation and Separation. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Others also felt that Bai Peipei was a bit extraordinary after listening and wanted to add a few words of support. As a result, Bai Peipei directly asked in reverse, the acceptable way is to kill her. Do you want this kind of fortune to be given to your daughter? In one sentence, everyone was blocked. But your daughter is like this. If you continue to do this, what will she do in the future? Everyone knows that the Qiao family is not right, but Xia Dia is already like this. What else can she do? In the long run, she will have to live with the Qiao family in the future. If her family does everything, she won't be able to live with the Qiao family anymore. Bai Peipei said stubbornly, if it's impossible, then it's impossible. She's holding money in her hand, and she's afraid of food and drink. If the Qiao family dares to take action against her again, I'll take action against the Qiao family. Old Qiao said, You crazy woman. I tell you, you should be like this. I don't want such a wife from the old Qiao family anymore. As soon as they saw that the Qiao family had the idea of not wanting a daughter.In.Law, the others became even more anxious, afraid that this matter would be broken up and blamed on them in the future. Someone came forward to advise, you see, the Qiao family has been forced into this situation by you, not wanting a daughter.In.Law. Xia Laoer's family, please consider carefully. This matter is really unacceptable. Just give the Qiao family a lesson, we can't do too extreme. If we do too extreme, we really can't say anything. By the way, Xia Laoer's family, where is your man? Your man is not here, don't you still not know? How can this be done? We need to give your man an explanation about this. Although this result was expected by Bai Peipei earlier, she still felt a bit angry when she heard so many people speak up to persuade her. What? They are all about to kill someone, but they still want to reconcile, whether to persuade or not. Damn it. If it weren't for her coming, Xia Dia would have been killed by the Qiao family. Bai Peipei angrily said, it's not your girl who's going to be beaten to death, is it? You're talking about it quite easily. Since they started taking action against my daughter, this matter hasn't been resolved. At the sight of this, the Qiao family felt as if they had caught Bai Peipei's painful foot and started shivering again. Mr. Qiao still looked like he wanted to give Bai Peipei a step, indicating that since Xia Daya was already like this and couldn't give birth, it wouldn't be useful to take it back. It's better to leave it at their Qiao family. Let Bai Peipei rest assured that the Qiao family will never mind. Even if Xia Daya can't give birth, it's because of his son. Since it was his son who caused it, let him take responsibility to the end. He deserved that he didn't have a son. Don't mention anything about compensation or compensation. Xia Daya is recuperating at the Qiao family, and the Qiao family will take care of her. She will definitely not let the Xia family be distracted. You see, we have already stepped back to this point. Are you also going to step back? It was Xia Daya and Xia Miao sisters in the room who heard it. Just as the hope of life had just risen, Xia Daya suddenly felt hopeless upon hearing such words. So even if she survived, she would never be able to escape the fire pit of the Qiao family. It's better not to live then. The next second, the flame of hope in Xia Daya's heart ignited again, because she heard, "Fuck your mother." Bai Peipei roared angrily at old Qiao, "My eldest daughter was almost killed, and you still want me to stay. Are you unwilling to kill her? I tell you, Qiao, I would rather let eldest daughter rest than leave her at your house." A sentence of "Xiufu" is like thunder. Everyone was stunned. Xiufu. Since ancient times, only divorce has been possible. Do you still want to divorce? Who do you think you are? Old Zhou really felt that this woman was crazy, even Xiufu could say such things. Since ancient times. No man has ever beaten a woman and caused his wife to miscarry. Since your son dares to create such a precedent, what happened when I let my eldest daughter take a break? If he has the ability, ask your son not to take action. What's wrong with my son hitting your daughter? He also hit her because she's not sensible, and he deserves to hit her. Bai Peipei rushed over and kicked Qiao Lesheng, the second son of the Qiao family, saying, "Then I hit him because he's not sensible. He deserves it." Ah! Qiao Lesheng, the second son of the Qiao family, screamed in agony. Why is it always me who gets hurt? He felt like crying and shouted at old Qiao, "Dad, don't argue with her anymore. If you want to take a break, let her take it. Anyway, I don't want this wife anymore. Woo-woo. As long as you don't hit me, you can do anything. You're a loser. You're going to be laid off, okay?" Old Qiao looked at his son with a grudge against him. There's no man in the world who's laid off. If this gets out, how will you see people in the future? Qiao Lesheng, the eldest of the Qiao family, said beside him, "I don't have the face to see anyone either." Qiao Lesheng, the second son of the Qiao family, cried and said, "That's better than being beaten to death. If you give money, but you don't, what else can you do besides being laid off? I also want to take her off. Yes, let's divorce." Old Zhou gritted his teeth and turned his head to look at Bai Peipei. "We want to divorce. It's not my daughter who made a mistake, it's your son. If you want to take a break, your son will also be taken a break. Take a break, you must take a break. Since ancient times, there has only been divorce. How can there be divorce? To divorce, one must divorce. I'll take care of you. It's your son who made a mistake. If you want to take a break from your son, take a break from him. Divorce. Huff. Divorce. The villagers around were dumbfounded. When someone wants to persuade and not persuade again, but when they open their mouth and get scolded on both sides, they are not good people inside and outside, and they are too lazy to care. Rest, whatever you want, whatever you like, I don't care. Shouting to divorce my wife while shouting to divorce my husband, one by one. Finally, Lesheng from Shanao village was mobilized, which allowed everyone to take a step back and achieve harmony. When Xia Daya married into the Qiao family, she didn't have much dowry and only wore 2 clothes. However, after marrying into the Qiao family for so many years, Xia Daya had to pay for her hard work, otherwise wouldn't she have married in vain. I also asked for some compensation, but Xia Daya didn't ask for the medical expenses for seeing a doctor because Qiao Lesheng, the second son of the Qiao family, was injured by Bai Peipei, and each family treated each other equally. The Xia Qiao family has completely turned their sides. Bai Peipei borrowed a door panel from someone and asked the people of Ningxian village to help carry Xia Daya back to Ningxian village. On the way, Aunt Lu also said a few words to Bai Peipei, saying that she did something too much today. I don't know what to say about you. You used to be bad to Daya. She didn't feel distressed for anything. Now she is so distressed. What do you want to do? If you had loved her earlier and wouldn't let the Qiao family do evil to her, she wouldn't have become what she is now. Bai Peipei looked remorseful and said, so I regret it. I want to compensate Bigya. Sister-in-law, I know you're worried, afraid that I might not treat Bigya well when I take her back. You just have to watch, and I definitely won't do that again. It was only through this experience that I realized, and actually, seeing Bigya like that, I also feel quite sorry. What did you do earlier? Don't mention the past, everything has happened and it's useless to mention it. My sister.In.Law just depends on my performance. Aunt Lu looked disapproving and said, but this is not a solution. Look at Daya's appearance. You have taken her back now, but what will she do in the future? She looks like that. Give her a word, can't she get better? Can she still have children? No matter whether it's possible or not, it's difficult for Xia Daya to find another good one like this. Chapter 8. Returning to Mother's Home. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Aunt Lu's implied meaning was understood by Bai Peipei. Although it's a bit difficult to understand whether women in this era should marry or not, she didn't argue with Aunt Lu. Instead, she sighed and said helplessly, what should we do? Let her stay at the Qiao family and be beaten to death by the second son of the Qiao family. I can't do anything about it. If the Qiao family were a person, I wouldn't have caused this kind of trouble. But although Dayit didn't come out of my belly, she was raised by me alone. What's the difference from her own life? Can I see her waiting to die at the Qiao family? I can't bear to see her. Sigh. Aunt Lu also sighed along, there are indeed some things in the Qiao family that are too bad. How could they put such a heavy hand on Daya? So what are you going to do now? If you bring them back, there will be a lot of things to do in the future. Aunt Lu glanced at the others and whispered to Bai Peipei, if you didn't tell your man about this, there will definitely be some trouble when you go back. As well as your daughter.In.Law, you need to have an explanation. You need to think carefully about all of these things, so as not to cause you to be a bad person inside and outside, then it will be troublesome. Wait, she still has a daughter.In.Law. How old is the original owner? Even if he has a son, he will have a daughter.In.Law. Bai Peipei was surprised, but her face remained calm as she said, what should we do? It's already like this, we can only take a step and see. If Xia dares to make a scene, I'll have him kneel at his brother's grave and tell him. If his brother doesn't want me to intervene in this matter, let him tell me personally. Aunt Lu choked. His brother is also dead. How could he say it himself? Isn't this a challenge? Xia Lauer and his brother are really going into a dream, and she doesn't believe that Bai Peipei can still remain as calm as he is now, afraid of being scared to death. Forget it, it's someone else's business. She said it's useless. I just hope that Bai Peipei won't regret it then. At the entrance of the courtyard, Bai Peipei was secretly surprised to find that there was no one at home. She quickly had Xia Daya carried to her room. Hee, how could she refuse to sleep with the original owner? Now she has an excuse. While thanking everyone, Bai Peipei escorted the person to the gate. Previously at the Qiao family, there were many things to attend to, and Bai Peipei didn't care about Xia Dai's injuries. Now that she has arrived at home, she has the opportunity to carefully examine it. This inspection made me feel more and more heartbroken, and I couldn't help but curse the Qiao family a few more times. Originally, Xia Dai was somewhat afraid of Bai Peipei, but when she heard Bai Peipei curse while feeling heartbroken, she felt a sense of unreality for some reason. Did she really come back? This is not a dream. No, Bai Peipei said with great certainty, how could this be a dream? If you were bullied outside, why wouldn't your mother pick you up? What do you think of your mother? That's it. Xia Miao Miao came in with a pot of warm water and said, my mother is just a sharp-tongued tofu heart. She doesn't say anything, but when she heard the news of my sister's accident, she was more anxious than anyone else. Sister, since you're back, don't think about what you have and don't have. Take good care of your injuries at home. Don't worry, the injury on your body just looks serious. As long as your mother takes action, one by one, we can guarantee to cure you well. The medicine will cure you and dispel all evil spirits. You will soon be able to go down healthy and help your mother with work. While examining the wound, Bai Peipei silently jotted down in her heart which remedies to use. I can't afford any precious herbs, I can only pick up some that can be seen daily in the mountains, and the effect is not inferior to that of precious herbs, but it takes longer to take effect. But it doesn't matter, as long as it can be cured. Bai Peipei had a plan in her mind and took the original owner's clothes to replace Xia Dai. Don't take anyone else's clothes, wear mine. When my mother has money in a few days, I'll pull some cloth to make new clothes for you. Bai Peipei smiled and said to Xia Dai, don't think my mother's clothes are ugly. When you're good, you can make them yourself in the future. Whatever you like, you can do it. My mother will never stop you. Mom, I don't mind. Mom's clothes are already very good. After marrying into the Qiao family, Xia Dai didn't wear any fitting clothes, so she wouldn't mind Bai Peipei. For Bai Peipei, giving her this one is already excellent. The original owner didn't have many clothes, only a few pieces, mostly with patches. Bai Peipei picked a cleaner one for Xia Dai. As a newcomer with no memory of the original owner, Bai Peipei didn't rush out to pick herbs for Xia Dai. Instead, she wandered around the yard and found several anti-inflammatory and pain-relieving herbs. She quickly cleaned them up, smashed them with a bowl, and applied them to Xia Dai. Later, I'll make you a bowl of tonic medicine. You can take it for a while to nourish your mind, and I'll call you after dinner. Bai Peipei was busy from front to back, and Xia Miao Miao also followed suit to help. Despite Xia Miao Miao's young age, she was very meticulous in her work. Bai Peipei saw it and was willing to teach her more. The more she looked at it, the more she felt that Xia Miao Miao was well behaved and cute, just like the little angel she had always dreamed of in her previous life. How could such a thoughtful little cotton jacket be hers? It seems that time travel is not that annoying anymore, it's just a bit too sudden. If only she could prepare more. Just as Bai Peipei was thinking this, a voice came from the yard. Mom, what's the strange smell in the house? Bai Peipei looked up and saw a beautiful girl who was smaller than Xia Miao Miao, also wearing a bun and a flower. She was slightly surprised. Is this the original owner's biological one? At first glance, the treatment was different, and she said, how could a mother abuse her daughter? Look, this has come true. At this point, Bai Peipei realized the drawback of not inheriting the original owner's memory. He didn't even know how many children he had, so there wouldn't be any major mistakes in the future, right? What Bai Peipei didn't notice was that when the little girl appeared, Xia Miao Miao, who was originally at ease next to her, suddenly felt a bit restrained, as if she had been caught as a thief. Xia Miao Miao didn't even dare to look at her eyes and whispered, Xiaoya, you're back. My own home, can't I come back yet? Xia Xiaoya rolled her eyes and didn't hesitate to look at her cousin, who was 4 years older than her. Seeing the wild vegetables in front of Bai Peipei and Xia Miao Miao, she was still a bit unhappy. "Mom, isn't it? Are you eating wild vegetables again tonight? This thing tastes terrible, it smells strange. Can't we eat it a few times less? This is not wild vegetables, it's medicine." Bai Peipei thought Xia Xiaoya didn't know about Xia Dai's situation, which is why she was so indifferent and said, "Your big sister is injured. I'll pick up some medicine for her to treat her injury." "What's wrong with Xia Dai?" Mom went to see it. "Just take a look, why are you still taking some medicine? You're not a doctor." "I'm not really a doctor, but I understand a little bit. Your eldest sister is injured so badly, you can't just watch her feel uncomfortable, can you? I can save some money by treating her myself. Your eldest sister is in the room, do you want to go see her?" Xia Xiaoya was surprised and said, "Ah, is she inside?" "Wait a moment, Mom, have you brought her back?" Bai Peipei nodded and said, "Everyone in the Qiao family is not human. Seeing your eldest sister lying in bed covered in bruises and not even inviting a doctor, I was so angry that I brought her back. Isn't that right, Mom? You're too impulsive." Xia Xiaoya didn't want to go into the house to see people, but instead looked disapproving. "With so many people in our family, there are already 2 who can't move in bed. There's not enough food left. Now you're taking another freeloader back, how will you live in the future?" Chapter 9. Twin Sons Lying in Bed. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. Are there 2 more lying in bed? Bai Peipei was surprised. Why didn't she know that there were still 2 lying in bed? It's been half a day now, there hasn't been any movement, it wouldn't be feeling uneasy. He quickly asked which room those 2 were in and rushed in. Xia Xiaoya saw Bai Peipei's expression and said discontentedly, "Do you only think of second brother and third brother now? For the sake of an outsider, you even ignore your own son. Are you waiting for them to die in bed?" Before Xia Xiaoya could finish speaking, she heard a loud roar coming from the room. "Shut up!" Next, Bai Peipei shouted, "Xia Miao Miao, let me bring the needle that was just placed in the room." "Ah!" Xia Miao Miao responded and quickly returned to the room to get the needle. It was at this moment that she remembered that the twin cousins were still lying in bed. They were so noisy, and neither of them moved. It wouldn't be fear surged in my heart. What if 2 cousins died unattended in order to save her sister? At that time, my mother may hate them to death. Xia Miao Miao was both afraid and fearful, almost trembling as she entered the room. The room was very dilapidated, with only 1 bed and 2 people lying side by side on it. The blanket was very thin, and their faces turned slightly blue. Their breathing was weak, and they clearly looked as if they had been unconscious for a long time. Bai Peipei helped up one of the more severe cases and quickly and decisively pressed on the major acupoints on his body. After a while, he let out a soft cough and a mouthful of black blood. "Is this poisoned?" Bai Peipei was shocked. What exactly is the original owner's identity? How did her son get poisoned? Without time to decipher what poison it was, after the person recovered, Bai Peipei injected a needle into the life-saving acupoint, allowing Xia Miao Miao to help her and go to treat the other one on her own. Because she was in a hurry to save someone, Bai Peipei took action very quickly. Xia Miao Miao didn't see clearly how she operated it. She only saw Bai Peipei slap her third cousin Xia Mingrui, who, like his second cousin Xia Mingxiang, spat out a mouthful of black blood. In the same position, Bai Peipei also gave him a needle. Xia Miao Miao helped each other with one hand, almost unable to hold it. It's been so long, Xia Xiaoya didn't even come in to take a look. Bai Peipei was a bit angry and said, "Where's Xiaoya? Why doesn't she come in and help?" "Maybe. I'm busy." Xia Miao Miao dare not tell the truth. Her 2 cousins are sick all year round, and the room is not ventilated. There is a strange smell, and it's strange that her cousin will come in if there's nothing wrong. Bai Peipei ignored Xia Xiaoya's name and shouted directly to the outside, "Xia Xiaoya, come in for me." As she shouted, a thought flashed through her mind. Why is this name so familiar, as if she had seen it somewhere before? It's also possible that this name is too vulgar. Xiaoya, Xiaoya, just add a surname to form a person's name. It was also Bai Peipei's good luck that she really called her the right name. Xia Xiaoya responded outside and walked towards the door in a sullen tone. "Mom, do you call me?" She covered her nose and didn't want to come in yet. "Why are you standing there? If you don't help someone quickly, your brother is almost dead." "So serious." Xia Xiaoya was startled and entered the room. What am I doing?" Just like the seedlings, they held on to the person. "Oh." Xia Xiaoya slowly helped the person. "But the smell in this room is really unpleasant, with a combination of foul odor and fishy smell that makes people want to vomit." Xia Xiaoya freed one hand to cover her nose. Xia Miao Miao saw it and quickly took more care of it, afraid that she would let go and cause her cousin to suffer. Seeing someone slow down, Bai Peipei also had time to determine what kind of poison the two brothers had, whether they accidentally ate the wrong thing, or after finishing her pulse and checking their vomit, Bai Peipei's mood became increasingly heavy. She was very certain that this poison was not a result of a day or two, but rather a long-term presence in diet that led to its transformation from superficial to profound toxicity. Poisons are very rare, and ordinary doctors cannot even detect them. After confirming that the poison on the two brothers could be resolved by themselves, Bai Peipei also breathed a sigh of relief. As long as there is help. If there is help, then it's not too late. The breathing of the two brothers became more and more balanced, and the green color on their faces gradually faded. Bai Peipei pressed on them for a while before turning around to prepare herbs. "When I was just preparing for Xia Xiaoya, I happened to have prepared honeysuckle and forsythia, honeysuckle with sweet and cold coriander, clear and strong detoxification ability. Forsythia is good at dispersing blood and forming knots, and is known as the holy medicine of the ulcer family. The two go together and complement each other. Before finding other more suitable herbs, Forsythia suspensa can only make do with these two." Bai Peipei packed up and put it into the pot, calling Xia Miao Miao to cook. Upon hearing this, Xia Xiaoya quickly said, "Mom, I'll go. It's not that she's diligent, she can't stay in this room anymore. She wants to find a different place." Bai Peipei felt a bit uneasy and urged Xia Xiaoya to repeat it, confirming that there was no problem before releasing the person. Xia Xiaoya left the room as if fleeing. Bai Peipei. This is her brother, is she? Can't this be like Xia Miao Miao and the others? It's not biological, is it? Mother, there won't be anything wrong with the second and third cousins, will there? Xia Miao Miao looked worried. In her memory, the two cousins have been in poor health since birth. The other person's health is getting better and better, while the two of them are working in the opposite direction, with their bodies getting worse and worse. The doctor said that as long as it is taken good care of, it is enough. However, the Xia family is poor, and it is impossible to prepare such good things for their two cousins. The more they are taken care of, the worse they become, and the weaker their bones become. By now, they can no longer get out of bed. No, with me around, I won't let anything happen to them, Bai Peipei said firmly. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Bai Peipei probed Xia Miao Miao and wanted to figure out how many people there were in the Xia family. Lest her eyes turn black and there be too many people appearing, revealing her horse feet. This test revealed to Bai Peipei that besides her current third daughter and second son, she also had a married eldest son. The reason why she hasn't seen her eldest son is because he has returned to his mother's house with his daughter.In.Law and won't come back until dark. The man from the original owner, Xia Lauer, has entered the mountain. Bai Peipei silently arranged a sequence in her heart. Xia Lauer, the man of the original owner. The eldest son and daughter.In.Law, followed by the twin sons lying in bed. The youngest is her daughter Xia Xiaoya, who just appeared. Then she also had two nieces, Xia Daya and Xia Miao Miao, who had been raised from a young age and changed their names to mother early on. This is all for the Xia family. As for the person's name, Bai Peipei hasn't asked directly yet, afraid of revealing flaws and being mistaken for a monster. As far as she knows, ancient times were the most feudal superstitions, and she had to expose her flaws, possibly being burned as a monster by people. Bai Peipei dare not take this risk. Taking advantage of Xia Xiaoya's efforts in boiling medicine, Bai Peipei and Xia Miao Miao tidied up the room, removed vomit, opened the window for ventilation, and also cleared out some unnecessary things. This time, Bai Peipei discovered that no wonder the original owner's twin sons were so seriously ill. Their bowls and chopsticks were both used separately, all soaked in poison. Their pillows are filled with rice husks and have also been soaked with medicine. And their beds, in order to poison both of them, he did everything he could to the extreme. Bai Peipei used various excuses to clean up all these things and replaced them in her own room. The taste is too strong. Let's blow it outside and find some herbal bubbles later to disinfect and kill bacteria. Disinfect, kill and sterilize. Little niece Xia Miao Miao was puzzled and didn't quite understand the meaning of these two words. Bai Peipei, who discovered that she had made a slip of the tongue, retorted, "This is a self-created statement. Do you think that no matter what you use for a long time and don't clean it up, it's easy to get a lot of dirty things? Disinfection means getting rid of these dirty things." "Oh. I understand. I'll help my mom." "All right. We Miao Miao are really hard-working, they are a thoughtful and good girl." "Mother." Little niece Xia Miao Miao felt a bit embarrassed when praised. Chapter 10. Bai Peipei's Shock. You are listening at novel.full.audio. We have almost finished cleaning up here, and on the other side, our little daughter Xia Xiaoya finally finished preparing the medicine. She shouted at the top of her throat, "Mom, the medicine is ready. Come and take a look, isn't that all you need?" "Coming." Bai Peipei responded and went to the kitchen. Bai Peipei checked and found that she had almost finished cooking, so she found a bowl and took it out. "Mom, have second brother and third brother woken up?" "Not yet. Their bodies are too weak. It's better to sleep more, but waking up will only consume their energy." "But if you haven't woken up, how do you drink medicine?" "Then let them temporarily wake up." Little daughter Xia Xiaoya's face was full of question marks. "Can you wake up temporarily? Can you still wake up for a while sleeping?" "Wait, isn't second brother and third brother unconscious? How did they become asleep?" Xia Xiaoya didn't know that the twins were unconscious, but Bai Peipei gave them first aid. In theory, with such a big commotion, the twins had to keep their eyes open, but Bai Peipei felt that their physical condition was too weak, so he didn't wake them up. He casually pressed them and let them continue to sleep. Now that the medicine was cooked, Bai Peipei let it cool down and estimated that it was almost over. Only then did he wake the two of them up and inform them to take the medicine. Twin brothers. Mother. Xia Mingrui, the third child, was in better condition and opened his eyes first. He was somewhat surprised when he saw Bai Peipei. If he remembers correctly, before falling asleep, he seemed to hear his cousin Xia Miao Miao's crying. "Don't talk yet, save your energy, drink the medicine quickly, and then go to sleep." The third person, Xia Mingrui, also knew his situation and didn't talk nonsense. He obediently took the medicine and said, "Mom, I just heard my cousin crying." "What happened?" The little niece Xia Miao Miao stood nearby and said, "It's okay. It's all settled. Third cousin, you are not in good health. Don't bother with dim sum." As soon as the third person Xia Mingrui heard that it was resolved, he did not ask further questions. He only felt Bai Peipei press on him a few times, and the drowsiness that had only faded came back, instantly falling asleep. Third brother Xia Mingrui. Can't I just say a few more words? Next, it's his second son Xia Mingxiang's turn. He is not as shrewd as his third brother, nor do he have so many ideas. Bai Peipei asked him to take medicine and he drank it. After drinking it, he went to bed, obedient and obedient. Meow meow, look at them and order. If you're not breathing properly, just call me. Hey, Mom, I got it. Compared to others, the situation of the twin brothers is more serious. Bai Peipei is not confident in handing them over to Xia Xiaoya, so she can only ask Xia Miao Miao to put in more effort. Afraid that Xia Daya, the eldest niece in the neighboring room, might think too much, Bai Peipei ran over and comforted her a few words. My niece Xia Daya doesn't mind at all. She can vaguely hear the commotion next door, but she is a bit worried about the situation of her two cousins. If it were because of her that she delayed her two cousins, her guilt would be greater. It's okay, they just need to take good care of their weak bones. I'll let them sleep a little longer and slowly recover, Bai Peipei said with a smile. I'm afraid you might think too much, so I came over to explain the situation to you. You're the same now, and you need to take good care of yourself. You can't worry. When you take care of your body, Mom will still be waiting for you to help her with her work. It's natural for me to work for my mother. When I'm done, I'll take care of all the clothes and stove work at home. It seems that this is the only way to alleviate her anxiety. My niece Xia Daya knew that the situation at home was not good before she came back. However, when she returned, she found that her twin cousin, who used to be able to go to the ground, couldn't even go to the ground. She became even more anxious. The situation at home was already like this, and she came back to drag on. Can this family really accommodate her? Don't go to the back, only my sister Xia Miao Miao is left to protect her. If that's the case, she might as well not come back. Okay, I'll wait for you to get up and work for me. Don't think too much about anything else, as long as there's a mother around, she won't let anyone bully you. Bai Peipei thought about it and knew what her niece was feeling uneasy about. She smiled and made a promise. Just now, while changing things for the twin brothers, Bai Peipei took the opportunity to check the things in the original owner's house and touch the Xia family's property. Unfortunately, the Xia family really doesn't have anything good. They have torn blankets and clothes, and there is a big bag of coarse grains and a bag of fine grains hidden in the cabinet. The fine grains are almost finished. Bai Peipei saw for the first time what a family could look like when they were poor. The coarse grains were so coarse that in her previous life, she probably only used them to feed poultry. She doesn't even need to scratch with her hands, she can see things like stone particles, grain shells, and so on. Not even stuttering, Bai Peipei felt a bit hopeless. Where did she eat this in her previous life? I'm afraid it's not for feeding pigs. Mother, it's almost dark now. Are you going to cook? Xia Xiaoya, the youngest daughter, saw that her twin brothers were fine and began to worry about food. I can't blame her for being big-hearted. It's just that she remembers that her twin brother was already sick and she's used to it. Since Bai Peipei said, it's okay, she doesn't need to worry even if it's really okay. Bai Peipei looked at the little daughter, who had already shown signs of being ungrateful, with a feeling of not knowing what to say. What surprised her even more was that her youngest daughter Xia Xiaoya asked her for something to cook, but instead of making it herself, she arranged for her niece Xia Miao Miao to do it. Bai Peipei was a bit suffocated at the time. She's looking at your two brothers. You asked her to cook, what are you doing? Xia Xiaoya, the youngest daughter, said naturally, let me see. I also moved a stool and sat at the door, not even wanting to enter the house. Clearly, she and her niece Xia Miao Miao had just cleaned up the room. Bai Peipei. Isn't raising such a daughter really to anger oneself? Although as an adult, she didn't do it and asked a child to cook, it was a bit of that, but doesn't it mean that the children of the rural family are already in charge? Isn't it normal for my youngest daughter Xia Xiaoya to cook, stir-fry, and stir-fry? She can't be using colored glasses to look at people, is she double-labeled? Are you sure you can see your second and third brothers breathing when you look so far away? Bai Peipei walked up and patiently said to her little daughter Xia Xiaoyao. Xia Xiaoyao. It's okay, I'll walk in and take a look later. The meaning is that she doesn't want to go in, just go in and take a look when needed. Upon hearing these words, Bai Peipei wanted to slap her on the spot. Are you not afraid of your brother's accident? That's your own brother. But didn't my mother say they were fine now? As Bai Peipei said, Xia Xiaoya still looked at her with a pair of clear eyes, not understanding what Bai Peipei was angry about. A mouthful of old blood stuck in Bai Peipei's chest. Dare, is this still my fault? She said it's okay, referring to passing the critical period, but we still need to continue observing afterwards. On the other hand, she said this also to appease everyone, fearing that they would be too nervous. Bai Peipei had a feeling of not knowing what to say, but at that moment, there was a commotion coming from the entrance of the courtyard. A tall man in coarse linen clothes walked in from outside, carrying a hoe. In front of him, Bai Peipei was completely stunned.